loose again. Edwards off the lane. Puts it back down to Edwards. They hand it off to Johnson. Boise State has won. Right now, and they take a downfield shot. And the catch is made. It's Riley Williams. Goes to the three. Touchdown.
All right, everybody, welcome in to another edition of the Gridiron Uncensored podcast. Just me tonight, rolling solo, trying to get these done because we got trips coming up and all that other stuff. Either way, we appreciate you being here. Obviously, BYU tonight, and getting close to the top here of the Big 12 standings, and really great season when you look at the 2024 year for BYU. Really unexpected from the outside looking in. I know BYU fans that I talked to last season were kind of expecting, at least a jump from where they were at. But, truly just a really nice season that unfortunately got derailed right at the end. It was still a great season. Not saying it wasn't, just from where you're so close to playoffs and everything else. So let's pull it up real quick. Obviously BYU fans already know. But great start. You go all the way through Utah getting wins, and then that Kansas game, man, tripped you up. And really, Kansas was a team that came out of nowhere for a couple of teams at the end, and they finally started gelling. That's why Kansas has some uplook this season, looking into 2025, excuse me. And then obviously the loss to Arizona State. But you finished out strong, beating Houston, and then beating Colorado in the bowl game. So now let's move on to 2025, because 2024 that's a great benchmark to hit, and now it's a stepping stone. Coaching staff pretty much all the same from what I've been reading, unless I've missed something completely. Guilford's the only thing that I saw. He was a defensive pass game coordinator, is a promotion for him. He was cornerbacks coach, but it's all kind of the same thing, just promotion because of how good he's been doing. Outside of that, coaching continuity is huge. Moving from some of these other teams that we've covered that have had so much turnover in the staff already. BYU keeping that staff together with Satake at coach. That's just so important. So a couple of numbers before we get into talking about the portal and offense. Returning production from Bill Conley, and we'll talk about S&P Plus too, just briefly. The returning production numbers sitting at 59%, and then S&P Plus has you at the 27th best team in the country. And obviously, if you don't know S&P Plus, it's baked in all of last year's numbers, recruiting. I think it's like a 4-year segment, time, the last 4 years, how well they've done in that, and then the games last year. And that'll get all, sort of fading out as the season progresses. So it's just a snapshot. How hard is this team to play, or what potential does this team have, when you look at it, offense and defense? Portal-wise, 89th portal class, and really not bad. It obviously could be better, but some of the pieces I don't really mind at all. Looking at what I have: 13 in, 28 leaving. My keys in, Gentry coming in from Michigan, the Bachmeyers coming in. That kind of is important right now with what's going on at quarterback. Guys like Keon Need, Fafua. So just a couple of guys that I saw that I think can step in. Guys on the outside, Harrison Taggart, obviously, Keelan Marion. Those are tough losses, but I think they'll be able to be overcome. But we can't. We'd be remiss not to mention, hey, let's go into offense, let's get it done and over with. Quarterback situation. What's going to happen from the outside? Like my perspective, I don't know what the hell is going to happen. From what I've been reading, Retzlaff is probably done for at BYU. I'm not trying to jump the gun here. That's what I've been reading. BYU fans, let us know, what you're hearing, what you're seeing. For me to assume here, I know what assuming does, but we're in the business here of projecting and evaluating the team, and if we don't know if this guy's going to start, we got to assume that he's not. Unfortunately, Now, if he does, if because I'm a big believer, innocent until proven guilty. Not trying to wipe away anything else, but that's just how I fucking roll. Uh, so when I'm looking at this, look, he may be out from other reasons, but I'm not going to talk about the player. Uh, Now, looking at the team, when you talk about offense, we mentioned who's quarterback. If Retzlaff is out, is it Hillstead? Is it the young guy Bear Bachmeyer coming in? I mean, I don't know if you leave it to him. Uh, but I mean, Hillstead, he's had some reps. It's something. At least you can lean on it. But that does worry me a little bit when we talk about this offense and can you pick up where you left off from the 2024 season? And but what you do have is good running backs, and you have strong offensive line, and you can lean on that. LJ Martin, I think, is going to be a force. Sion and Moa, I think that's a nice pair. And then wide receiver production is one that you did lose some big names. Laster, Marion, JoJo Phillips coming up. You want to see him step into that role. How does he elevate to that leadership role out wide? And then even the other Bachmeyer, Tiger Bachmeyer coming in, he's at least had reps in the Power Four. He's gotten opportunities, but now if he's jumping into this bigger role here, somebody to lean on. Looking at the offensive line, I mentioned I think it's going to be just fine. I personally, I'm a Michigan fan, if you can't tell on the back there. But I mean, I like bringing in Gentry from Michigan. I think he's a good player. There's so much talent on the offensive line at Michigan. Don't necessarily get the reps that you want, even though you're a good player. So getting him 6'7", 320, 330, depending on what site you're looking at, I think that's a nice get. You're also bringing in, other interior linemen. Looking across the board here, I think it's a solid portal class to help out up there in case you need rotational players. But offensively, it's Bachmeyer and then Carson Ryan's the other guy coming in from Utah that at least gives you a nice, body to check down to, somebody that you can rely on, no matter what quarterback is starting. So, yeah, my thoughts on the offense would change drastically if Retzlaff is able to stay. If not, okay, I feel a little bit more worried about it, but I know that you guys should be able to still run the ball just fine. To me, that's not an issue. And then you got somebody good to check down to. Defensive side, looking at it, I like the pickups, honestly, from the edge rushers to what you got in the D line coming in. Another Utah guy, Intana Vasa, 6'4", 300 pound. That's a nice one to clog the middle there. And so I think the middle is going to be just fine. I'd like to see the edge. How like Akana coming in from Texas. How does he step up? He's on the lighter side. So is he going to play at linebacker? Or is he just be that speed edge rusher that just burns your tackles of the opposing team? But I think it's still going to be a solid edge room already, and then you just add the depth there. The defensive backside, looking at it, the roster has depth from, when I'm looking at, what they lost out of the portal. Nothing really sticks out to me there. Again, let me know if I'm wrong. Maybe Wakely, leaving to Purdue. Outside of that, I'm not seeing any huge hits. But then also, again, you've got the depth there. So it's just the experience and getting these guys to step up and perform. And, I've talked about it on the show with Trevor, or my co-host, for any of you that are new watching, I feel like it's a lot easier to replace what you're losing on the back end than it is up front. So, like defensive linemen, edge rushers, trying to go into the portal and find guys that can fill those gaps is so important. But the edge guy, or the back end guys, I feel like it's a little bit easier to find those pieces to plug and play and even, just develop organically. So I think BYU has that ability. So real quick, going to look at the schedule for BYU and pull up here 2025. I've got it on my screen. I'm going to put it up on this one too, so you guys can see it better. And where is that? There it is. All right. So looking at this 2025 schedule, over under, they currently have at 7.5. And we've talked about this in our shows as well. The Big 12 is just so tight when it comes to parity and, how good each team is. And, a lot of people put down the conference. I just don't see it. I think it's a good conference. I think it's strong. It is obviously lacking that top end, elite team, but there's so many good ones that they just beat each other up. So anyway, let's look at the schedule here. You start off with Portland State. That should be a win no matter whoever the quarterback is. That's at least a warm-up. Get you rolling. Stanford next. Stanford, that's a team that, when you look at last year, they're just a shell of, what they used to be. They went 3-9 last season, and it's probably going to be somewhere in the same range. We're doing ACC previews next, so I might adjust how I feel on it, but we shall see. Either way, I think that's probably a win for BYU. You could probably run the ball just fine and beat that Stanford team. And then you take a break, and then you head to Greenville, North Carolina to take on an East Carolina team that is hungry and maybe somebody not to sleep on, to be honest with you, from the group of 5 ranks. I still think BYU should win that game. And then you get into it, Colorado, West Virginia, Arizona. Colorado team, we talked about them very recently. It's on our YouTube page if you want to check that out. But that's a team that, they're finally out of the Shadur, Sanders, shadow, and also, Travis Hunter's gone. So it's going to be an interesting one to see how that team performs. West Virginia is another one. The entire roster changed over. The entire coaching staff changed over. So you got the continuity on BYU, the coaching staff, pretty good returning production there, and then solid portal additions. How does that one play out? That's an interesting game there. At least it's in Provo. And then Arizona, they've retooled. They still have Fafita, who I think is a dangerous quarterback. I think last year things were just so bad. He just simply tried to go to McMillan, and now that threat's gone. Maybe he's going to spread it out around, again. So that's something to look for. Utah, to me, much better team as soon as Dampier steps on campus. That's a team that you need to watch out for. Iowa State, I've seen people say, well, they've lost too much production. I don't see it. I think that's still going to be a good team, and they're dangerous with Rocco Beck, that quarterback. So looking at these games, Texas Tech, TCU, all these teams look like they're improving. I know it's not always going to happen that way, but TCU is the only one that I'd say they really got to figure out a run game for me to buy in completely. So looking at, the over-under for BYU at 7.5, I'd say you beat Portland, you beat Stanford, East Carolina, say you beat West Virginia early in Colorado, maybe drop one of those. So 4-1 start, got to beat Arizona. I could see right at that 7.5. I could see probably 8 wins, maybe 7. If Retzlaff is not there, I'm leaning under, just because Texas Tech's going to be, they should be good, but I mean, they could fall off like they always do. Iowa State, I think, is going to be strong again. I think Utah is going to be more difficult with the strong defense and actually good quarterback play. West Virginia is a wild card, so is Colorado. So really, you got to win these tight games, and if the quarterback situation is what it is, I just don't know if I trust it. Yeah, I need to see it. I know you guys probably hate to hear that. Let me know why I'm wrong, why you have more faith in the team, regardless of the quarterback situation. But then I still think you beat UCF down there, and then Cincinnati's probably going to be a little tougher with Sorsby at quarterback. So I'm probably going under, and that's my assumption with Retzlaff, probably departing. But if he is there, again, I'm not trying to be any way about it. If he is there, then I'd say I'm taking the over for sure, and I think they'll be in every single game and could win any of these, beat every single one of these teams on the roster, or excuse me, on the schedule. So that's just the way I feel about it. Too much uncertainty right now to really lay a claim on it. So that's where I'll stand. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know where I'm wrong. It's Big 12's tough. I don't give a shit what anybody says. It's a tough conference, and it's gonna be fun to watch. So, yeah, I guess I've had this up the whole time, but it's all right. You probably don't want to look at my face anyway. We appreciate you guys watching. Make sure you subscribe, share with your friends. Let us know what you think. We want to talk football. Not trying to be a dig, not trying to blow smoke up anybody's ass either. We just want to be straight up, give you what we feel. So we'll see you in the comments there on YouTube, and thank you guys. Have a good night.